Alright, in our next video here, we're going to talk about the principle of repetition. And we already have some repetition going on in our design. Mainly, we're using the same font. Now imagine if you always had a different font every time you had something on the page. So this could be, that's probably not that crazy of a font. Let's make this app. I'm having a hard time picking crazy fonts here. So we'll change that to Coromant. We'll change this one to, that's not that different of a font. We'll go to Railway. And maybe this one has Super Clarendon. This thing up here has Silam. I think you're getting the idea here that if we didn't always use the same font, that this just starts, while it maybe starts to get interesting, this starts to also get sloppy. So I'm going to undo all of those. But there are different things that we can do to have repetition. For instance, you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a numbering system which is consistent with, so as somebody goes to this piece of information, to this, to this, to this, there's something that's repeating in the presentation of the information. It starts with a subtitle with some information in front of it or below it. So let's do another thing to sort of group things. So we're going to add a little bit more proximity at the same time. So over here in the tools, there's the rectangle, and if you click and hold it, you'll have the option to choose the rounded rectangle tool. And now as I come to my box, I can draw a box with round corners. Now it's a solid black and it has a solid fill color. I'm going to click this tiny little double arrow next to it to swap the fill and what's called the stroke color. So now it has just a line with an empty fill. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to copy that and paste it to create another one. And we'll create another one. Move it down here underneath repetition. And notice that I'm at the same time I'm putting these in their place, I'm doing alignment at the same time. Oops. So this was a combination of more proximity and repetition. Again, I've now definitely packaged this information into 4 pieces. And I can even move these together a little bit if I want to make everything. To select everything, you can either click on it, or if you want to select a group of things, you click, hold, and drag everything you want in this selection box. Once it's all selected, you can click, hold, and drag it over. Alright, so we're going to copy one of these again, and we'll just paste it somewhere. And just like we've done the ones on top in the fashion of repetition, repetition again adds clarity. So all 3 of these have added clarity. Actually, all 4 of them will add clarity. And this also added some more interest. So repetition also introduces familiarity. So in all, you can get, like, people are starting to understand that, okay, here are 4 packages. They all have a title to the package, and they all list the reasons why these principles help with the design. So you can see that the person has a title for all of these with subtitles and then bullets of information, all grouped and organized and nicely aligned. So far we've done some pretty good designing. Haven't done anything super fancy yet. Certainly, you could probably do a lot of this with just Microsoft Word. So, why all of the expensive design software? Well, as we now get into contrast, you'll see in the next principle, this is where we can really go and make our designs shine and add a lot of life. So, in our next principle, we'll finish things up with contrast. We'll almost finish things up. I got one more thing saved for you after this. All right, but next we'll do contrast.